You've promised yourself, this time will be different. The gym, the journal, the 5 a.m. wake up. You feel that spark of motivation, convinced you finally cracked the code. But 2 weeks later, it's gone, like every habit before it. The excitement fades, the routines slip, and frustration creeps back in. You start wondering if you're just weak. You're not. Most failures are better explained by context and design than by character alone. The game isn't rigged against you by fate. Your environment and the rules you follow often bias your behavior. Habits often fail because of friction and poor design, not only because of willpower. By the end of this video, you'll learn evidence-backed levers that can significantly improve habit persistence over months and years. Here's how we'll break it down. First, we'll uncover why many habits collapse before they even have the chance to take root, and the common design mistakes that make them fragile. Second, we'll pull back the curtain on the invisible levers, environmental tweaks, cue design, and simple systems that make consistency feel easier. Third, we'll look at the common traps people fall into, and quick, practical ways to climb out of them. Finally, we'll put everything together in a toolkit you can apply to any habit, in any season of life. Less friction, more momentum, and routines that are designed to last, or at least to stand a far better chance of lasting. Chapter 1 unveils the truth. Friction is where habits meet their end. Habits often fail not because we're weak, but because they're built on too much friction. Think of habits like roots in the ground. Shallow roots dry out or snap in the first storm, while deep roots hold steady no matter what comes. Most of us plant our habits in rocky soil. Too much effort, too many steps, too much resistance standing in the way. That's why even strong motivation eventually fades. The ground can't support the growth. One of the most common mistakes is starting too big, too fast. You tell yourself you'll meditate for 30 minutes a day, run 5 miles, or read an entire chapter. But when life pushes back, that load becomes impossible to carry. Fast fix. Shrink the start until it feels almost silly. 2 minutes, a single push-up, 1 page. Micro starts lower friction and increase the chance you'll begin. According to Stoic philosophy, discipline isn't about doing more. It's about needing less. Freedom comes not from piling on tasks, but from stripping away the barriers. Now, let's talk about willpower, why it feels strong at first, but drains as the day goes on, and how that affects your habits. Willpower often feels like a battery, fresh in the morning and harder to summon by night. At the start of the day, you can push through resistance, make the tough call, or force yourself into action. But as hours pass, every decision, what to wear, what to eat, when to respond, can make self-control feel harder. Psychologists have studied this idea under the label ego depletion, which proposes that self-control is a depletable resource. The literature is complex. Early studies supported a strong effect, but large pre-registered replications and later meta-analyses showed the effect is smaller and context-dependent than once thought. If your habit depends mainly on sustained high willpower, it's more likely to break. Design systems so fewer choices rely on you. Pre-decide where possible. Lay out workout clothes the night before. Put your book on the pillow. Schedule a time block. These pre-commitments and choice architecture techniques reduce friction and reduce reliance on a fickle spark of motivation. Motivation isn't the only spark. Systems and environment are the long-term fuel. Next, we'll explore identity, how the story you tell yourself shapes your actions, and why habits stick when they become part of who you are. Habits don't simply survive because you grind harder. They last when they become part of who you are. Identity is the container, and actions are what fill it. When you truly see yourself as a runner, missing a run feels inconsistent with who you are. When you see yourself as someone trying to run, skipping feels normal. Identity-based motivation and self-perception research show that how people think of themselves matters for what they do, though effects vary by context and population. Mistake to avoid: chasing outcomes only. I want to lose 10 pounds. Goals can spark action, but they don't always change the self-image that supports long-term behavior. Fast fix: frame small actions as identity votes. Instead of, I want to lose weight, try, I'm the kind of person who trains regularly, and then prove it with micro actions. Over time, those actions can change how you see yourself, and that self-image makes consistent action easier. Remember, we don't rise to our goals. We fall to our systems and our self-image. Now, we'll look at your environment, the silent architect that nudges your behavior without you even noticing. Your surroundings shape behavior in predictable ways. This isn't about weakness, it's about design. If snacks are visible and easy to reach, you're more likely to eat them. If your phone is on the table, you're more likely to scroll. Behavioral economics and choice architecture show that the way options are presented influences decisions. Design your environment and you design the default behavior. The typical mistake is keeping temptations close and blaming yourself when you give in. Willpower alone isn't designed to handle constant cue exposure. Fast fix. Out of sight, out of mind. Make bad habits harder to reach. Make good habits easier. Put fruit on the counter, hide snacks in the pantry, place running shoes by the door. Small changes in proximity and visibility reliably shift behavior in many studies. Don't fight temptation, starve it. Up next, we'll dive into a toolkit of simple, evidence-backed strategies you can use to make habits easier and more reliable. Here are 5 practical frameworks: simple, low-tech, and grounded in behavior design and psychology. 1. The 2-minute rule. Begin with a micro version of your habit. The point is entry, not intensity. Practitioners report better initiation rates with micro starts. Randomized, large-scale evidence is still developing, but micro starts are a low-cost test you can try. 2. Habit stacking. Anchor a new habit to an established one. After I brush my teeth, I'll meditate for 1 minute. Existing routines act as reliable cues for new behavior. 3. Environment design. Make good habits obvious, bad ones invisible. Choice architecture and cue manipulation lowers friction. 4th, identity-based habits. Decide who you want to become and take micro actions that reinforce that identity. Identity-based interventions have empirical support in many domains, though effects vary. 5th, reset rule. If you lapse, try to restart quickly, within 24 hours if possible, rather than waiting for an arbitrary Monday. This is a pragmatic strategy, rather than a universal law. Each framework is simple and practical. Combine them to make change more probable. Here's the part most videos skip. Habits will break. You'll relapse, skip, restart. That doesn't mean failure. It means you're human. The real measure is how quickly you return and what you learn from the lapse. Motivation dips? Use systems and environmental design to carry you on low days. Pre-commitment and nudges are effective ways to reduce reliance on momentary motivation. Relapse? Miss a session? Restart quickly. Short pauses don't always erase habit gains if you resume promptly. Perfectionism? Don't worship streaks. Focus on trend lines and averages. Resilient systems absorb occasional failures. Consistency isn't perfection, it's resilience. Finally, we'll answer some common questions and clear up the myths that often get in the way of building lasting habits. You might be wondering if you need to wake up at 5 a.m. to build habits. The answer is no. Early hours aren't magical. What matters is aligning your habits with your natural energy peaks and daily constraints. Consistency matters far more than the clock. Streaks can be helpful as motivational tools, but they shouldn't be treated as sacred. Focusing on long-term averages and realistic consistency is far more sustainable. And if you fall off for weeks, don't panic. Simply restart with a micro version, like the 2-minute approach, to rebuild momentum. Habits are surprisingly forgiving when you reduce friction and return quickly, allowing progress to compound over time. Now it's your turn. Drop a comment with the one habit you've been struggling with, and I'll reply with a practical fix you can use right away. If you found this useful, consider subscribing. Not for hype, but for evidence-informed frameworks you can test in real life. I'll keep linking the research so you can dig deeper in the description. Every week, I'll share tools and experiments to help you design habits that stand a better chance of sticking. Success isn't built in bursts of motivation. It's built in quiet, consistent repetition over time. Habits don't just change what you do, they change who you become. Every small choice is a vote for your future self. Be patient, design intelligently, and trust the process. Habits compound, but they don't guarantee outcomes. They improve your odds. Keep showing up.